Welcome to the first episode of Open Process. Today we'll be discussing what we've done over the past week and what we'll be doing next. So, just to start, what did you do this week, Serge?
I went to a camp at University of South Florida, robotics camp, to build an obstacle avoiding robot. Very interesting, but it's very basic as well. What about you, Tim?
I've been renting a telescope and I've used it to look at the moon, Mars, and a couple different stars so far. And I also visited a robotics scrimmage event nearby in Auckland. Finally, I'm just working on a separate project, which is in school to start up my own space club. So I've been working on all of these in turn this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I also planning to start a club at my school, but it's for cybersecurity stuff, so a bit different, but still in the same range, I guess. I personally do robotics at my school, so how are the scrimmages? Did you talk to any teams or?
Yeah, good. I do know some of the teams personally because I actually since my school doesn't have any teams, I spent some time at a nearby college, Sacred Heart, and with them I met a couple different teams and I saw them and talked to them again during this scrimmage. So that was quite interesting. I also met some other newer teams from other colleges as well. So that was cool. It was an interesting way to see what the events are like and what goes on there in the first place.
Was that like your first event ever for VEX Robotics?
That was my first time ever at a VEX Robotics event.
Did you just did you know the rules, or was it difficult for you to know the rules of that certain game?
From the time that I visited those teams before this, like while they were still in the process of constructing the robots, I did see and multiple times saw the full video of all the rules, so I've understood that, though there are, like, the actual game, though a couple of the rules I wasn't familiar until then, like, for example, since the idea of the game is to put in certain blocks into the goal areas, I didn't know that you weren't allowed to make a robot that its purpose was to push just the opponent's blocks out of the goals. Apparently that's a rule. Or
oh yeah, because I was after Worlds. That was the first one. We were the first. Every team was the first to know about the rules. I didn't know that was a rule either. Like, you can't make a team. I mean, you could push the blocks out, but I didn't know you could.
You can't make a robot that pushes them out without adding your own blocks.
Oh, they might have changed that for more. I don't know. That's weird.
Oh, it is an interesting rule. Yeah.
Because there's a slot in the tube where you could push them out. So how would you be able to put them in and push them out at the same time? But I guess we'll see when more competitive, more higher games start beginning and stuff this season. What about your telescope? That sounds interesting.
Yeah, that's been fun. I mean, I'm just renting one to try it out for the first time since, again, I haven't personally used a telescope before. It is it's not a mechanically driven one, so I had to move it myself, which was quite a nice experience, lining it up with various things. I managed to photo the moon twice, just putting my phone up to the telescope eyepiece. So first of all, it was a half moon, and I waited until it was again a full moon. Then I got to photo it again just a couple days ago. That was quite fun. So,
from what you told me before, you said you also explored, examined Mars or whatever. Why didn't you take a picture of Mars?
Well, that's a good question. I'm waiting for Jupiter because it's big enough to photo, but Mars on its own, looking at it even through there, it's still pretty much a dot. It's not that interesting to photo. It would have just been a slightly reddish orangish dot. It's quite interesting compared to that color compared to other stars, and the fact that it moves more unlike other stars, so you have to keep adjusting the telescope, just like with the moon. But otherwise, it would have been as interesting to photo it. I might try that anyway, but with the maximum zoom, which was, I believe, 130 times magnification, it's still not that great to get a good photo of it.
Have you looked at Jupiter once, or?
I can't yet because, so basically, since Jupiter, Mars, all the planets, as the Earth turns, they move across the sky. So effectively, at the moment, Jupiter is up in the day and down in the night, which means I can't look at it. So
Yeah,
I actually have to wait till I believe March next year till
that's a
it's
long way.
actually in a good position. Yeah, it's a little while. So they'll be able to see Saturn this September, which is a lot sooner, and it should be not quite as big as Jupiter, but still quite interesting to look at. Anyway, how was the robotics building competition? I think you told me previously that it was something relating to instead of on an Arduino board using a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, it wasn't like a competition, it was just a camp to learn how
Ah,
to build
okay.
one. So throughout the camp, it was like every day we did something different leading up to the end being the robot. So at the beginning we were talking about like how to code. Well, I knew like a lot of the stuff already, but some stuff I didn't know, especially with Python. So we like learned code, then we did 3D design on like Tinkercad. We made name tags, which we never got, but that's a bum. But like we still made them. We learned how to 3D design, how to accurately make shapes from real life to Tinkercad. Like we did a screw and like some other shape. The most interesting part was like it was Monday through Friday. The most interesting part was Thursday and Friday. Thursday we actually started opening the kits
Mm,
and building the robot. It is a whole kit, so like anyone can build it. And but it comes with an Arduino though, which is very limited to what you could do with it, especially coding wise. And because it's not like a full computer, it's just like I forgot the word for it, but it's like not a computer. It's like way smaller than that. And they gave us Raspberry Pis, which I know that VEX uses them for fields to like track field like to connect to the robots. So for competitions, you could like score them or like DQ them. Like they use them for every competition that I know. And that's the first time I actually got to use one, like hand to hand. And it's actually like a full computer, like your laptop basically. It has Google, it has like you could download coding onto it. Like it's very fun. It was very interesting. Coding, there was a lot of new coding that because you have to like link different wires to the Raspberry Pi, and then you have to put that into code to see what it does. But yeah, the Raspberry Pi, we swapped the Arduino for the Raspberry Pi. Now I could do a lot more with the robot. I'm planning to add like Bluetooth control, even a camera for the Raspberry Pi because it would be better than the Arduino one. There's a lot of stuff you could do with it.
hmm. That's really interesting. What kind of stuff did you, as part of the camp, connect up to the Raspberry Pi? Did you do sensors? You said you're adding a camera now, so you probably didn't do it then.
Yeah. Well,
Anything
there
else?
was a camera in the kit for the Arduino, but we can't really use it with a Raspberry Pi, because that's like different things.
Ah,
There was a ultrasonic sensor which only detects distance by sound. So like it sends sound, comes back and detects it. Which there was a lot of tweaking in code because it wouldn't always stop right before the wall. It would like stop after it hits it, which is annoying. Um Another sensor, I don't think we used any other sensor, but there was four motors. There was like we did make it wireless because at the beginning on Thursday when we finished the robot, when most people finished the robot, we couldn't drive it without all the wires connecting to the monitor or like the Raspberry Pi. So the teacher bought like an extra device. I don't know what it's called, but it's like an extra device that we put on the robot, connected it, and it sent a certain voltage from the battery to the Raspberry Pi, like 5 volts, enough to power it. Not too much, not too little, so it like powered it perfectly. There is a flaw though, like when you run the code and disconnect the wires, it's just gonna keep running until you place it down. You can't really stop it and turn it on like you do in VEX, but I mean it still works. I'll probably find a way to do that with like a button or something.
really interesting. That's cool. So you said it was a full week experience.
Hmm.
Was there, so was it like after school or was it a full day experience? Is there anything else you did outside of the Raspberry Pi camp?
During that week, um, not anything related to any projects I would have done.
Hmm.
Um, well, except this channel, but Anything else? Not really. I mean, that weekend, my brother did have like a soccer competition, but that's just like an extra detail. During that week, it was only the robotics camp.
Okay, so you mentioned you're working on your own club, starting I believe it was ethical hacking club.
Or
In
like cybersecurity, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So in my case, just want to mention it. So since I've been working on Space Club, arranging my own club in my college, effectively so far it's been all about gaining new members, and thankfully, conveniently, the year nines, or 1 year down from me, are taking their current unit, which is Mission to Mars. So they're learning about the planets and they're learning about Mars colonization. It's mostly just about the idea of what it would take to sustain a Mars base, and that's the assessment that they're working on as well. So with that, I'm making the current topics of the current weeks more fitting to that. I started with like also creating a slide for the slideshow of Mission to Mars so some of the teachers could introduce Space Club as well. That one of my teachers, Mr. Comber, also teaches science, so he helped with that. And through that, my first topic was why Mars anyway? Just because it was a common question among the year nines that the teachers rarely answered, and a bunch of them did find it quite interesting, so that was fun to do. And in general, this has been quite a nice experience as I've also gained more of my year, and I believe one member may be joining who's a bit older, that they can also share some of their own topics. Like one of my friends, Mike, has talked about what happens when a star dies, or specifically that goes into supernovas, black holes, neutron stars, all that fun stuff. So that's been nice. Just getting this together has been a cool mini project that I'll continue working on.
Yeah, that does sound fun. One question I had, like, since I'm guessing you're just starting this club now, what would be like a dream project for you for everyone to do at the club or like any sort of activity?
That Good question. I was thinking, I mean, obviously it would be really fun to do some form of maybe getting engineering involved or some form of competition of creating something for each, maybe grouping it into separate teams or having the whole club compete against something else. Maybe make it like one really interesting goal to do since our school has often this a bunch of weeks that are dedicated to certain things. There's library week, there's sports week, there's I believe there's just book or um, fantasy week. That's another thing. So there's a ton of different separate weeks that celebrate something. There's also Pride Week, I believe, stuck in there, and a couple, and Sustainability Week for the Sustainability Club. So with that, it would be really interesting to, as a club, create a space week where the school could do various space-themed activities, maybe construct things, quizzes, etc., competitions like build a planet, design a planet, maybe something like that, or more intense quizzes. I don't know. It would be really interesting to make it a more school appreciated or interesting event for people in the school because it through our science, the only real space topic we ever get is year nine mission to Mars, and from there on, it's rarely mentioned. And even in physics, you learn about gravity, but there's no, like later when science splits into the subjects, there's rarely any mention of space. So it'd be interesting to get the whole school into that. Yeah,
Yeah, that week would be interesting because you have so many weeks for any other topic except space, I guess. Um, for my club, like it wasn't really like I didn't really think that big, like a whole week for space, but I was thinking of I talked with a teacher that would like help me with the club because you kind of need like a teacher for any club. You can't just start one
mm,
yourself. Um, and he gave an idea which I really liked, which was having a website. Since cybersecurity is all about like keeping things safe, so having a website that um like they can access, and every time they find a loophole, they change it so the loophole like stops, so no one can access after. And then over time, it's gonna get better and better until it just like can't be fully safe, but like it would be as safe as possible in that year or however long they're in the club.
that's honestly really smart. I mean, it's the great way to get all the people involved and also to have them do the entire concept of the club, ethical hacking, to hack, see what's wrong, and fix it. Now that's
Yeah.
a great idea. Yeah.
One question I had for the scrimmage that you watched, I know it was like your first time at any game sort of for VEX, but is there any like what's it called like any like interesting builds or any interesting strategies that you found for that specific game, or were you not really looking at that? You were looking at the general game and the points.
No, I was looking at the robots, and it was actually quite interesting since I noticed that there were just a couple different categories. Like there were push bots, the idea of just pushing people out of the way, and since there's no limit of how many blocks you can have on your robots that tried to collect a lot of blocks and then, well, dish them out into the goals. So what was interesting is I noticed a large majority of bots that gathered up blocks and then put them in had some form of supply chain or like a single path through which the blocks would take, and filling it up would just involve stopping them somewhere in the middle. And one robot stood out since Linfield College is famous for having like here in Auckland having really good robotics teams because they've got quite a big budget, but beyond that they're quite skilled, and their robot was unique for having a actual collection area where they put blocks into there and then took them out rather than having it be somewhere in the chain of movement of blocks, so that was unique. And with that, I believe they did win the competition. Their team and the team that they paired up with, like alliances, obviously,
Yeah.
that's the way they played the games. Yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting because for my team after the main competition Worlds, we saw the video and some people even started planning or like I made a schematic for an idea that I had for a robot for that challenge. And a lot of people from my class especially, they made like that chain thing where you collect them on the chain, they stay on the chain and you put them into the tube with the chain. Um and people weren't thinking about like a bucket or something on the robot to keep the blocks and then take them out. But no one really thought of how you would take them out from the bucket. But that's cool. Did you record that match where they had that or no?
I believe I did. Yes, one of the
Was
matches.
it the one you sent me?
I think I can send you another one there. But what's interesting about that as well is that they had one of the best autonomous period setups out of any of the robots. They also managed to get multiple, I believe, 5 to 6 blocks in the goals within the autonomous period. So that
Hmm.
was very effective. And the other robot that I found quite interesting, just because of the unique build, it didn't quite work. I mean, in some cases it broke a little bit, unfortunately, but it's one of the groups that I was familiar from my visit to a nearby college from Sacred Heart. They designed a revolver robot where effectively they had their chain that would bring blocks in would be part of a revolver mechanism, which so they could have a lot more blocks in there. And at the top of the revolver is where they would push them out into the goals or out of the bottom into
Oh,
the
yeah.
local. Yeah.
When I was doing the schematic for the robot, I was researching on YouTube videos for ideas of the robot to just like combine some parts and make my own. And there's a video like after the reveal of the game and after the reveal of the like the rules and stuff. I saw a guy make a 3D printed version of that to like make a quick video to showcase a design that could be possible, which was the revolver one that you're talking about. That's sick if someone actually made that like out of metal and it actually works well. Well, you said it didn't work well, but
Yes,
still.
it only didn't work well because the little chain that they used to move the blocks at the top broke a couple times, so they couldn't push any out of the top, and they had to resort to the bottom goals or pushing people around because it's a pretty hefty robot.
Hmm.
But I think if they can solve that, since they'll continue playing and they were in the finals, so I think they will continue and get better. So that it is a really interesting idea and
Yeah.
project that they did there.
From my experience from robotics, I know we use different materials, not just the metal given from VEX. Did you see any robot that had like plexi on it? If like the plastic or like any other sort of material on there?
Yes, I believe I did. There was a couple robots had plastic plates, I believe, just I think one used it as kind of a scoop to scoop up blocks, but I don't think it worked that well. Though the robot that I mentioned before with the bucket, and I think another one as well, used netting as the bucket system, so that I don't know how well that worked. It seemed to work, and they managed to take blocks out of there quite effectively. So I, it
You
works.
don't judge it for works,
If
yeah.
it works, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, yeah. Did you see any specific strategies, like specific robots just being pushers on alliance, or any robots just scoring? Like, were there any of those alliances?
Yes, I believe the revolver I mentioned before, they did have an alliance with a pusher, so they had a pusher and the revolver was scoring. I don't think there were any alliances where it was two pushers because that wouldn't gain them many points, obviously. So yeah, there were I think two or three pusher teams, though one stood out in the way that it could actually partially score because they managed to have an almost scooping part on the front so that they could pick up one or two blocks and put it into the low goal, which was quite interesting. And also that scoop kind of helped them pick slightly, not pick up other robots, but push them more effectively. So yeah, it was interesting. There were also a couple of what I would like to call crane bots. So they had a crane mechanism that was static and would just pick up blocks and move them out the other end.
Oh,
Those
yeah,
varied.
I think that's like that was like the kind of robot that they showcased for the reveal of the game, where it's
Yeah.
just a static chain. They go backwards and then go forwards like that. Yeah. Did any robot, I know from the rules, I know I'm asking a lot of questions about this next thing,
But
but
it was
did
interesting.
any robot get points, or did any alliance both go into that little section where they had to balance each other and get a lot of points, or none of them did that yet?
A lot of robots did, especially the pushers, did manage to get one robot in there. That was somewhat simple. I don't think there were any alliances that managed two robots. Oh,
Because I
no,
know that gives like a lot more
no,
points.
it does give, I believe, like a 30-point bonus. That's quite a lot. That's a lot. Though, no, it was, talking of points, it was interesting because a lot of the alliances in the semifinals and finals got 6 to 20 points on average. But then the one team with the bucket bot that I mentioned previously, the best robot, ended up winning with 76 points. So yeah, it was an insane win,
That
genuinely.
was a lot.
But yeah, I believe there was one alliance that managed to get two robots in there, but they didn't win because they didn't get a lot of points other than that. I think it was a pusher bot and one of the uh, static cranes because both of them aren't that effective at getting points, so it didn't end up giving them much in the end.
Well, that was fun for you experience because I obviously I started this year, but I'm still kind of new to it. But I mean, I did it in lower school too, like for IQ, because there's this which is I forgot the name,
V5, I believe.
B5, but like there's a specific name, but whatever. And then I did a Q which is like plastic, and this is metal, so very interesting. Do you got any questions for about the robot or that I'm doing?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to ask what the purpose or what the final thing you did with the robot was, because I know there's like line following robots if you use a sensor, or maybe just a bumper robot that tries to go around. I don't know. What did yours do?
Well, from the kit, there was a line reader, so I could use that for later for another project. There was a camera and, like I said, the ultrasonic sensor. The main purpose of the robot was to drive forward, detect an object before, like in front of it, stop before it. The code was stop before it, drive back, check left and right, and whichever side's open, then you go to that side. Like if there was a wall here and a wall here, and he would drive towards the wall and see that there's a wall to the right, he'd turn to the left and go left.
Hmm.
But after I built the robot, I was thinking how I could use the camera. Like there's obviously AI and stuff or like code that you could use. And I really want to know how like they made the self-driving cars because that'd be very interesting, like making it drive along a wall and like not go somewhere else. Because it's very like basic code. You would just drive forward, drive back, check left and right. Like I really want to make it more fun, more like interesting and yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Was there any project that you would do like that, like like not like a club or like the telescope, but like a specific build or something, or you do anything like that?
I have been working on one, or I worked on it, and now I'm fixing it up because it was for quite a while out of order. I built a mini solar system, like the inner four planets, that moved at the correct speeds because they have different orbital speeds and different orbital distances. So I took all of that into account out of Lego. So that was quite interesting. I wanted to fix it up to show it on a later episode. That'd be fun, but
Yeah.
beyond that, I don't have any new ones yet. I mean, I may have a project soon. I was considering, since I built it off of a separate Lego set, which was just a simulating Earth, the Moon, and the Sun. I wanted to try after this if I could take it apart and then make a more accurate version of the Earth and Moon system because it doesn't mention one really nerdy thing that obviously it would be a hassle to build, is that technically when the moon orbits the Earth also wobbles with the moon a little bit in the direction of the moon, and that's another because there's the rotation of the Earth, then you have to also add the rotation so it has the axial tilt of the correct area, and then the rotation of the moon, all going on the same axes. So, and then you can add that on, which
Yeah.
is another level of complexity that I kind of want to try out. So,
Wait, so the you showed me the solar system Lego thing before. I thought that was like a set that you built. That was a thing that you made like custom from another set.
yes, that is a thing I made
Oh,
custom.
that's cool. Yeah.
That's my own project, yeah.
Hmm. Well, good luck on the more complex version of that.
Thank
Here,
you.
wait, let me show you the robot actually.
Mm.
Here it is.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah. This is the ultrasonic sensor. This is the camera for the Arduino. But the Arduino is supposed to go here, and we swapped it for the Raspberry Pi. And this would be the battery. And the thing right here is the thing that converts the volts from the battery, which is a lot more than 5 to 5 volts, and then sends it to the Raspberry Pi to
Cool.
make it work.
Almost.
Motor's down here, yeah, and here's the line reader. So there's a lot you could do with this robot because of the Raspberry Pi, and I hope to obviously expand it a lot.
No, it's really nice. The ultrasonic sensor almost gives like a sense of like two little eyes on
Hmm.
yeah, it's fun. It's cool. Uh, just to wrap up, that's what we did this week.
Yeah,
We all obviously both of us had fun. And what are you planning for next week?
I'm planning to order parts for what I want to do, like the Bluetooth connection and the camera. Maybe something cybersecurity involved, like so no one can hack into it. That'd be also fun, especially with the club to showcase that. Um, what about you? You're gonna start the solar thing, or?
I believe I will be working on that as well. I just also wanted to continue Space Club, the next theme, getting more people involved, because at the moment I believe it's around 5 members, so we'll see where we go from there. Other than that, I have some of my own math parallel school stuff that I could talk about next week that's I'm doing this week, but I'm also going to be continuing for quite a while. But as a separate thing, I believe next week is. Yes. No, not quite. Yeah, also just wanted to check out through the telescope. Maybe I could try Photo Mars for next time
Yeah.
or any other.
Even if it's gonna be small, at least it's gonna
Maybe,
be
maybe
photo
it's.
more.
I might try out Omega Centauri because it's a cluster of stars, and if I can photo it, it'll look like a lot of tiny dots of varying colors really close together. So that'd be interesting.
Maybe some constellations or something like set of stars. Yeah.
So they're pretty big. Yeah, nah, that's cool. So basically that next week. Maybe a couple other
Okay.
things. I don't know yet.
Well, this week was very interesting as the first week.
Of course.
Hopefully we do a lot more. Hopefully we do a lot more for next week. And yeah,
All right. See you around.
see ya.